Hello and welcome, my name is mrcubey. In this episode, we have a brand new cannon to check out and build. Unlike most TNT cannons, this one doesn't decide just to shoot straight. No, this one erupts into a raging outburst of explosions that launch in every direction. Now, to give you an early heads up, this design was built only for sheer destruction as its goal, which means this design is not survival friendly as it requires a lot of TNT, and it can be quite intense and demanding for a server and or your computer. So consider yourself warned about those things. So instead of showing off its potential after I've made you build it, I'm going to save you the trouble and display what this baby can do right now. And if you think it's not too shabby, then you're more than welcome to stick around for the tutorial afterwards so you can build one for yourself and get your own hands on this destructive power. Here she is, the mother of chaos, just patiently sitting here waiting to rain hell upon these two testing worlds. After the tutorial, once we've built one, I'll show you exactly how to use it, or you could run into some little problems, which include the machine blowing itself up prematurely. So I begin to activate the cannon, and now we sit back and watch it work its magic. The cannon will constantly overload the barrel with TNT, in which the majority of the TNT will be propelled forward, but the cannon's launch will often ricochet the TNT off into several other directions as well, allowing her to paint her picture of hell. Yes, this cannon specializes in spread damage that stretches out far and wide, and thanks to the lever, we can have this cannon on for as long as we like. Now, I thought I made this first arena here big enough for this test, but I was wrong. A massive portion of the TNT that was getting launched actually flew right over the 100 block high walls. So yeah, buildings far away from this cannon still may not be safe from harm, just like my ones from the test world, rest in peace. Once my server begins to slowly catch up to the mayhem, we can start to see some solid craters begin to take shape. And as we can see ravines and caves being formed, you'll notice that this cannon would prominently be effective when placed in the center of somewhere where you'd simply like to be seen blown to bits, such as a city or a castle or town or wherever. But it's not long before the cannon bites off more than it can chew and eventually succumbs to the madness and implodes. This is completely normal, especially for this cannon on a server. If you are using this cannon on a server, it may cause quite a lot of latency, and there'll be so much memory getting used at once, it can't remember where some of the TNT blasts went off and may set them off right at your cannon in the vulnerable spots. If you're using this in single player, your cannon should be a little bit more resistant to this of course, as there will be zero latency, unless the odd ricochet TNT decides to land near your cannon. So yeah, this cannon can be quite temperamental and should only be built with nothing but pure destruction in mind. That may include the cannon itself too, so it's more of a set it up type thing and let it run its course. I will mention though that you can turn this cannon off and back on whenever you please, and I will show you how to do that after once we've built one. So now that we've seen what this evil cannon can do, let's build one together so you can take command of its power for yourself. For the sake of this tutorial, I'll be color coding different sections of the cannon with different colored wool to make it clear for you to follow along. Feel free to replace whichever blocks I use with any blocks that you wish, but during the tutorial I'll be referring to the colored wool that I'll be using. Lastly, before we start our first step, make sure when following this tutorial you build everything 100% identical to how I build it, as the slightest mistake could result in your cannon not operating correctly. Let's begin. I'll start by mentioning that you can have this cannon wherever you'd like, high up on a mountain for a further reach of destruction, or low to the surface or even underground, and face it in whichever direction you want. So go ahead and choose a destination for your platform. The platform should be 9 blocks wide and 15 blocks in length. Once you've built your platform, we're going to begin by marking out the foundations for the redstone to sit on with lime wool. Copy and follow carefully where I place it in. The foundation for the redstone is complete, and now we're going to add in the rest of the cannon's body with the following wall blocks. Now it's time to build the barrel of the cannon. Copy exactly where I place in these dispensers and ensure you face them the same way as I do. That's the dispensers done. Place in these 4 trapdoors like so. Chuck down 2 placements of water against the 2 back dispensers, and the water should flow down towards the front of the barrel, where the stream will be stopped by the trapdoors. Then place in these 4 pieces of glass as I've done here. Our cannon has now taken its final shape, and now we're going to place in the redstone to make it operational. Start with a lever on this back block here. Then place in 2 inwards facing sticky pistons like so. Now copy where I place these repeaters and watch for the direction I face them in. For the repeaters we've just placed, click each one of them 3 times, setting them all onto full delay. Now continue with these additional placements of redstone repeaters, once again ensuring you face them the same way as I have. That's it for the repeaters, and now for the final step, the redstone trail. Follow exactly where I lay it down on top of the foundations. Your cannon is now complete, although it's not ready to fire. We need to fill it up with its ammunition, but firstly and more importantly, we need to know how to fire it. Before we commence, make sure you haven't gone ahead and placed TNT in your dispensers while we learn how to turn this thing on. To begin the cannon's startup process, we'll need to place a redstone torch down on the red wall, but the split second we've placed it down, we'll need to destroy it. If you're a fraction too slow, this cannon won't fire properly. Here is how you can identify that you've done it too slow. This redstone circuit here will stay glowing red. It's that simple, but we want to see it flashing, so to reset it, we destroy the redstone on top of the purple wall block and place it back down again. Now let's try again even faster this time. As we can see, the redstone circuit is now flashing repeatedly. That is exactly what we want, and when we see this, there's only one thing left to do. As soon as the redstone circuit begins to flash, look for the blue wool. Eventually, the signal you ignite from the redstone torch will reach the sticky piston behind the blue wool and move it out for a second and move it back in. When we see that, we count 3 full seconds and then flick the lever at the back, and that's it. So here's a demo. Place and destroy redstone torch, wait for signal to reach blue wool, it moves out and in, we count 3 whole seconds, then we flick our lever. And that's how to start up your cannon. To turn the cannon off, it's very simple. Cut the redstone on top of the purple wool and replace it back after a second, and then switch the lever off. That's all there is to operating this cannon. Once you feel comfortable in starting up your cannon, fill up every single dispenser with as much TNT as you can. I recommend having a minimum of 2 stacks in each dispenser, and ensure you don't miss placing TNT in a single dispenser. I heavily recommend you double check that before you watch it descend into insanity for the first time. It may take a little practice starting up the cannon, but you will get the hang of it in no time, and you'll soon see the cannon begin to wreak havoc around your surroundings. A huge thanks to one of my amazing builders, RealmLord, for the design of this cannon. I hope everything went relatively trouble-free for you, and I wish you all the best with your new toy. Thanks so much for watching. As always, any support is very much appreciated, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!